John had been walking past the small park for weeks, dragging his worn briefcase and an even wearier spirit, convincing himself that skipping lunch was just another part of life he had to endure. Bills stacked high on his kitchen counter, his daughter's school fees looming, and the constant hum of his empty apartment pressing and made every day feel heavier than the last. Today, as he unwrapped his plain sandwich on a lonely bench, he barely noticed the laughter of children chasing one another, the vibrant colors of playground slides, or the late afternoon sun spilling across the grass. He was used to being invisible, a single dad fading into the background while the world moved on without pause, and he told himself, again, that he didn't deserve company or comfort. Then a small voice pierced his solitude. "You can sit with us!" The words were simple, almost ordinary, yet they hit him like a gentle lightning bolt. A little boy, wide-eyed and smiling, pointed to a picnic blanket where his mother was arranging sandwiches and juice boxes, offering a place at their humble spread. John froze, unsure if he was dreaming or if this was real. Hesitation battled hope as he stared at them, the mother's kind eyes meeting his with a warmth that seemed to acknowledge every struggle he had been carrying alone. It was an invitation, a lifeline, a crack in the walls he had built around his heart. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, he felt curiosity spark, hope whisper, and something unspoken shift inside him. The idea that a simple act of inclusion could change the course of his day, maybe even his life. Today, lunch would not be solitary, and perhaps, just perhaps, something new was beginning. As John slowly approached the picnic blanket, the weight of his past pressed against him with every cautious step. Years of failed relationships, misunderstandings, and moments where trust had been broken made him hesitant to believe that kindness could exist without strings attached. He glanced at the boy's expectant eyes and the gentle smile of his mother, and for a fleeting second, memories he had tried to bury surfaced. Afternoons when his own father had turned away, the sting of loneliness on holidays, the quiet moments when he had convinced himself that reaching out only led to disappointment. Yet, in that small, sunlit park, with the soft laughter of children around him, and the aroma of fresh sandwiches in the air, a flicker of something long forgotten began to emerge: hope. Each small gesture, the boy offering him a juice box, the mother nodding warmly, felt revolutionary, as if the simplest acts of inclusion were powerful enough to challenge the cynicism that had built up over the years. He realized that vulnerability didn't have to be dangerous, that letting someone in didn't automatically mean risking heartbreak. This realization pressed gently against the walls he had constructed around his heart, nudging him toward a decision he hadn't known he was capable of making: to accept their invitation and be present, even if just for a moment. As he lowered himself onto the blanket, a sense of curiosity and tentative joy stirred, a reminder that life's smallest acts of kindness can ripple outward, reshaping the contours of our days and our hearts. John's cautious optimism mirrored the very essence of what the audience watching could feel, a quiet but profound lesson that sometimes giving space for connection is all it takes to begin healing. And as the warmth of the sun touched his shoulders, he hoped others might witness this moment, be inspired, and perhaps share their own stories, reminding everyone that even in quiet corners, human kindness still thrives. John hesitated at the edge of the picnic blanket, shifting the weight of his briefcase from one hand to the other. The children's laughter felt foreign to him, almost painful, like a sound he had once loved but had long since stopped expecting. The boy waved him over again, holding out a small sandwich with a shy grin. John forced a smile, his throat tight with nerves, and took a tentative step forward. The scent of fresh bread and fruit seemed comforting in a way he hadn't felt in years. The mother looked up and offered a gentle nod, her eyes warm but unassuming. "Sit wherever you like," she said softly, her voice carrying reassurance that felt like a balm to John's cautious heart. He chose a spot at the edge, close enough to observe, far enough to retreat if he needed. As he settled down, he noticed the children sharing their toys, their little hands brushing over each other as they passed things along. The boy leaned slightly toward him, whispering a joke about a playground adventure. John chuckled softly, surprised at how easily it made him relax. Conversation started quietly. The mother asked about his work, the boy about school. The questions were simple, but John found himself answering more freely than he expected, his guarded walls trembling at the sight of genuine curiosity and attention. Small smiles flickered across faces, unspoken acknowledgments of shared struggles. John felt a sense of relief wash over him, realizing that being present in this small moment didn't require perfection, just openness. The children began a game nearby, and John caught himself watching with genuine interest. He noticed patterns in their movements, small gestures that reminded him of his own daughter, making his chest tighten with a mix of nostalgia and longing. The mother shared a story of her own struggles, carefully chosen to include the boy without overwhelming him. John nodded, relating silently, feeling the first real sense of connection he'd had in months. Empathy flowed quietly between them, bridging gaps he hadn't thought could close so easily. He offered a small gesture of kindness, passing a napkin to the boy when he spilled a juice box. The mother's smile widened just slightly, unspoken approval passing between them. John realized that tiny acts mattered, that even minor participation in someone else's life could create ripples of trust. As the meal drew to a close, the boy tugged gently at his sleeve, whispering, "Will you sit with us again tomorrow?" John's heart skipped, a flicker of warmth spreading across his chest. He hesitated, weighing the safety of retreat against the curiosity stirring inside him, unsure of what choice to make, but unable to deny the pull of connection that now called him back. John arrived at the park the next day, a mixture of anticipation and hesitation knotting his stomach. The boy waved enthusiastically, and the mother's smile greeted him like sunlight breaking through clouds, easing some of his tension. They began by talking about simple things, weekend plans, favorite games, school projects, but soon the conversation shifted naturally to hobbies. John mentioned his love for photography, and the mother's eyes lit up, sharing how she had recently picked up painting as a way to unwind. Laughter bubbled between them when they discovered their shared taste in music. A song John loved had also been a soundtrack in her life, and they reminisced briefly, their voices weaving through the air like old friends reconnecting. The boy bounced nearby, his excitement contagious, prompting a genuine grin from John he hadn't felt in a long time. They discovered even more connections, values about honesty, patience with children, and the importance of family rituals. Each revelation chipped away at the walls John had carefully built around his heart, revealing how much compatibility could exist beneath years of solitude. John noticed how the mother's gestures were subtle but intentional. A tilt of the head, a kind tone, a small laugh, and they matched the ways he expressed care. The synchronicity felt comforting, almost like a rhythm that had been missing in his life. At one point, the boy handed John a crayon drawing, and the mother laughed softly at his attempt to guess what it was. John's surprise and amusement drew her into a shared moment of levity, the simple joy bridging the distance he often felt with adults outside his circle. They shared small stories of past work struggles, challenges of balancing life with children, and quiet triumphs that didn't seem worth mentioning elsewhere. John felt a sense of relief realizing that here, he could be candid without judgment, and the mother's nods and gentle laughter reinforced that he wasn't alone in his experiences. As they lingered, John caught himself studying her eyes, noticing kindness, intelligence, and patience reflected there. Memories of past relationships flashed briefly, warning him to remain cautious, yet the warmth in her demeanor coaxed him to relax, if only a little. The picnic seemed to stretch in time, each moment rich with understanding, humor, and shared curiosity. He felt the first real sense of connection beyond surface pleasantries, a subtle recognition that this might be something worth exploring, even carefully. As they packed up to leave, the boy tugged at his sleeve again, whispering, "Tomorrow, will you tell me another story?" John felt a flutter of both excitement and apprehension, aware that each day deepened the bond, and the next encounter might challenge his walls even further. John approached the park with a quiet anticipation, aware that each visit carried a subtle weight of expectation. The boy ran toward him, a homemade snack clutched tightly, and John felt warmth spread through his chest as he accepted it with gratitude. The mother greeted him with her usual calm smile, and together they unpacked the picnic blanket, arranging sandwiches, fruit, and juice boxes. John noticed how natural it felt to contribute, how simple acts of sharing could ease the tension that had shadowed him for months. As they ate, John offered to help carry the boy's backpack, and she handed him a thermos of water without a word, a silent acknowledgement of mutual support. The gestures were small, almost imperceptible, but the meaning behind them resonated deeply. Laughter punctuated the conversation as the boy recounted school misadventures. John chimed in with his own stories, exaggerating minor mishaps, and found that the mother's gentle chuckle encouraged him to relax further, to drop the careful reserve he had maintained for so long. They exchanged compliments on parenting, on quick thinking during minor mishaps, and on small acts of creativity that had brought joy to their children. Each acknowledgement built a subtle layer of trust, showing that respect and recognition could grow organically. The children began playing nearby, occasionally glancing back to ensure John was watching or participating. His presence became a comfort, a quiet assurance that he was both accepted and valued within this tiny circle of care. John noticed the mother's casual kindness, the way she anticipated needs without fanfare, and he mirrored it through small attentions, passing a napkin, holding a juice box, offering reassurance with a nod or smile. These little exchanges deepened their connection. Conversations drifted into shared reflections about work-life balance, the exhaustion of single parenting, and moments of triumph, small but meaningful. They realized that they could be candid with one another, that honesty and empathy formed a bridge neither had expected so soon. As the afternoon light softened, John felt a sense of ease he hadn't known in years. Trust was forming, not rushed, not declared, but quietly and steadily, the kind that made even ordinary moments feel significant and safe. When it was time to pack up, the boy tugged at John's sleeve once more. "Can we come back tomorrow?" he asked, eyes bright. John hesitated, feeling the pull of connection and the cautious thrill of anticipation, knowing that tomorrow might deepen the bond in ways he wasn't yet ready to predict. The next afternoon, John arrived at the park expecting the usual calm rhythm of laughter and chatter, but a sudden shout cut through the air. The boy had tripped near the fountain, scraping his knee badly, and the mother rushed forward, her hands full of belongings and panic flashing in her eyes. Without hesitation, John sprang into action, guiding the boy gently to a bench and carefully inspecting the wound. He handed over tissues, cleaned the scrape, and offered a reassuring presence, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. The mother's relief was immediate, her eyes locking on his with gratitude and an unspoken recognition of his reliability. She handed him a first aid kit she had been carrying, and he accepted it without hesitation, feeling an odd surge of pride at being trusted. For a few moments, the world seemed to shrink around them, the scraped knee, the worried mother, and John's quiet competence forming an invisible triangle of connection and trust. No words were necessary. Their mutual understanding spoke volumes. Once the boy calmed down, John suggested they sit under the shade of a nearby tree, and the mother followed, finally allowing herself a breath of relief. The tension that had lingered between them melted slightly, replaced by a shared sense of ease. As the boy began to play again, he glanced back at John with a grin, and John felt a soft warmth spread through him, an affirmation that his small actions had real meaning. He had stepped in not out of obligation, but instinctively, and it had changed the energy between them. The mother thanked him quietly, her tone more personal, more vulnerable than before. She admitted that she often struggled to trust others with her child, but watching him respond calmly and thoughtfully had shifted something inside her. John, in turn, realized that showing care didn't expose him to weakness, it connected him. Sharing responsibility, even briefly, had created an emotional bridge that was steady, dependable, and rare. They lingered longer than usual, sitting together as the boy explored the park nearby. Every glance, every small gesture reinforced the sense that trust could be built quickly when actions aligned with empathy and reliability. As the afternoon faded, John's heart carried a new awareness. This connection, born of an unexpected moment of urgency, had changed the boundaries of his own reserve. Tomorrow might bring more challenges, but now he knew that facing them together could strengthen rather than diminish their growing bond. Days passed, and John noticed subtle shifts in the rhythm of their meetings. Laughter lingered a little longer, eyes met with gentle acknowledgement, and the small gestures of care, holding a juice box, offering a hand, sharing a quiet smile, began to carry a new depth. The mother seemed to relax around him, her usual cautiousness softening as she observed his attentiveness and the way he engaged with her child. John, in turn, felt an unfamiliar ease, a steady comfort that grew without fanfare, grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Even in ordinary moments, like arranging the picnic blanket or sharing a casual story, their connection deepened. They discovered a rhythm of companionship that was patient, measured, and free from the need for dramatic declarations. The children noticed it too. The boy began to hug John without hesitation, while John's own daughter grew fond of the mother's gentle presence. Their interactions were playful but anchored in trust, signaling the quiet emergence of a blended sense of family. During a shared walk, the mother commented on a small accomplishment of the boys at school. John joined in her praise, their voices harmonizing naturally, a subtle duet of encouragement that felt like an unspoken promise of support. They found joy in minor routines, returning library books together, helping with small homework projects, or simply sitting on the park bench while the children played. Each shared experience added layers to their connection, reinforcing a foundation of reliability and care. Romance began to form not as a sudden spark, but as a slow, deliberate awareness of each other's presence, a comforting warmth that neither rushed nor forced. They appreciated the small silences, the occasional touch on a shoulder, the way smiles met without expectation. Trust, patience, and shared attention created a safe space. The mother and John realized that a meaningful relationship didn't require fireworks. It thrived in consistent, steady acts of care that nurtured both their hearts and the children's sense of security. The afternoons became predictable in the best sense, a comforting routine that the children could rely on, and that offered John and the mother moments of quiet, shared satisfaction. They had begun to build a life together, carefully, thoughtfully, intentionally. As they walked home, the boy's hand in John's and his daughter laughing beside them, John glanced at the mother and smiled softly, knowing that what had started with a simple invitation to sit together had grown into something patient, sincere, and enduring. In the quiet aftermath of those shared afternoons, John realized that life had shifted in ways he hadn't anticipated. What began as a simple act of inclusion, a child inviting him to sit, a mother offering a place at their picnic, had unraveled layers of solitude, fear, and mistrust he had carried for years. Each small gesture, each smile and shared story had compounded into something far greater than the sum of its parts, a foundation of empathy, patience, and genuine connection. He noticed that the children's laughter no longer echoed around him as an outsider. Instead, It resonated in harmony with his own presence, anchoring him in moments of quiet joy and reinforcing the value of simply being present. The mother's steady, kind-hearted approach had shown him that trust could be built deliberately, one thoughtful action at a time, and that vulnerability shared did not weaken bonds, it strengthened them. They had navigated minor mishaps, laughter, and casual routines together, each interaction layering trust and understanding, proving that relationships formed through care and respect endure far beyond fleeting moments. John reflected on how easy it had been to judge others from a distance, to assume that kindness was rare or that connection was reserved for those without past wounds, and he recognized the truth. Genuine bonds are created when people act with consideration, no matter how small the gesture. The story of their growing family, two adults cautiously opening their hearts and two children learning to trust and feel secure, demonstrated that love, patience, and attentiveness were far more powerful than grand declarations. Life's meaningful connections often arise quietly, through acts of generosity and empathy that ripple outward, reshaping lives. And in that simple truth, John found a sense of peace and fulfillment he had long believed unattainable. That attention, care, and human kindness build relationships that withstand the trials of time, leaving an imprint on hearts that endures.